So check it out. It is Friday. It is time for another episode of the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. I'm your host, Steve Casillo. And as we do every Friday, let's just go and bring him in right over there. Phillip Washington Jr., welcome and say hello to the Mansfieldians.
How's it going, Mansfieldians?
Today, we are talking about the big industrial economy short.
Yes.
Which, if I recall, in listening to your podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple, you relate that to the movie, The Big Short, which, for those who have not seen it, the 2008 movie about the housing crisis.
Yep. And the and the guy who made a bunch of money betting on the obvious.
Yeah.
You know, he saw like all the debt in the system and was like, hey, this is unsustainable. So I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to buy these contracts that pay out when these promises like that can't be paid finally are recognized that can't be paid. And he like cleaned up like a lot of money. People go, oh, he was so smart. I was like, it's less, he is super smart. Like he's literally like a super smart like degree. I don't know what but he's super smart.
Yeah.
But intelligence is really just the ability to keep an open mind with the current data, right? I think a lot of people are not aware of like Einstein, like these super smart people. They're just insanely curious, meaning like once you get to a point to where you have an image of the world that you are married to and it's unchangeable, then literally you become less intelligent. Because you've blocked the flow, like you have a mental block. And so like new information comes in and you go, oh, that's not true because what I know is true. Well, cool. Like stay at that mental level.
So curiosity, just ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions, keep an open mind, right? Now, some people go, well, how do you not get confused on all the new information because there's always new information? Well, you want to understand principles because principles are timeless and they work across domains, right? That's why a lot of these super smart people understand energetic laws or thermodynamic laws because like the laws of energy like make up everything and like atoms, the universe, economies, they all work the cells, they all work the same way. It's the same system rebuilding itself over and over. Humans, markets, they all have the same internal process. So if you can understand the laws of energy, which makes up everything, then you can go, all right, I'm looking at this and does it line up with the laws of energy? And if it doesn't, then it's probably like a man-made law, which has a decaying factor.
You mentioned the principles. Give me some examples.
Like, so here's an example. So, and you and I were talking about this, like a closed system. A system that is closed is going to decay over time. A system that's open, expand. So you take like money, right? Like I looked at my account this morning. I can only transfer up to $10,000 from a given time, right? And this closed dollar-based system that also limits how much we can transfer, how much we can take out. The interest rate is controlled from the middle. Right, so like nothing about the system, the ledgers, right? Who owns what is controlled by a central authority, and when I say central, I mean like think about it. 12 central bankers, control the value of money that billions of people transact on like every single day. It's a very closed system.
The value of money, the value of the dollar.
The value of the dollar. Yep.
Right, because there's more than just the dollar when it comes to money.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you're if you believe, we live in a free system. So if you believe that the dollar is money, right? Then that's where the problem comes up, right? Versus an open system, which like the world is an open system. So like if you open your mind, go back to intelligence. If you open your mind and you go, oh, the dollar's not money. Money is value, right? Money is value. So I'm going to follow value. Like I don't care if I'm investing in a seashell, a shoebox, a digital currency. Like if it represents the laws of energy, if it's an open system, if it's scarce, or if it's an open system and it's something that people are gonna, and it's a free system, right? People are gonna follow that, right? And in a world where everybody operates on belief,
Yeah.
right? If there's like this new idea about money that people have gravitated towards around money, like a free system, a free society, a free economy, a decentralized system, not controlled by by a centralized group of people, like value and wealth has always followed that because that's the way the universe works.
Well, we've talked about this in the past where the dollar is not the only thing that you can use to buy things. And we talked about, cigarettes as a form of currency in the prison system, and that seashells on some deserted island is a form of currency.
And it's evolved over time.
And money in the world has evolved over time. And that if you go to another country where basically the dollar's useless, you have to convert that dollar to the yen or the whatever they use in Singapore or Bangkok. There's more than just the dollar.
There's more. Yeah, the money is belief, right? And I don't I'm going to use an example, and I have no intention of offending anyone.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it in a non-offensive way. There are as many religions as there are ancient cultures, right? Because religion was just a culture's ideas encoded into a belief system. And so we get to choose what religion we believe in, but there's people that still believe in certain religions that were there 500 years ago, and so they can't do certain things because of their religious beliefs. So it's a closed system, right? And what you'll find is the more closed-minded the belief system, the less prosperity there is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so less enjoyment. And so I'm saying it to say, that's why with money, I'm trying to break people's idea of money and say money is not like dollars, right? Money is not a thing. Money is value, right? A currency, like Tesla, is just as good of a currency in my mind as the dollar. Not probably better from store of value, but I'm saying it's the dollar has no moral authority, to me over that than that, right?
Right.
There's some cool video game studies where in-game currencies where people will trade different, a natural economy forms in games that was not intended by trading different items in the game. And so intuitively as humans, we understand that whatever central authorities say is money is not money, right? The market will find out what money is over time because we just, you know what I'm saying? If we allow intuition to do its thing and not block it off with belief systems that people told us are true, right? Then we find the true value of money, meaning it's super obvious, super obvious that I want to place my value in things that people are going to value more in the future because it's solving problems that we currently have in present day, right?
It sounds like the game of Monopoly.
100%.
That
trade the cash for it.
Right. I've got cash, but I want to buy a house. I now own 4 houses. I want to turn that into a hotel. I now own a hotel. I want to turn that into 3 hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And I want your money. I want you to go bankrupt so I can have everything.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's enough for everyone to go around.
Your monopoly has a fixed supply of money. In the real world, money is always increasing. But yeah, so but yeah, I mean that's the point. And breaking the idea that there's this industrial economy idea, and that's the way the world's going to be forever. Right. I think you first got to break that because I was talking to a buddy of mine that says, oh, the money's going to move to China. And I was like, no, China was just a copycat U.S., meaning China did the industrial economy thing. They just did it faster in a shorter period of time, and they overloaded their country in debt, right? Way faster than we did because they just copied what everybody else did and ran it up faster. From an industrial economy standpoint, that's why they had that big real estate bubble because their money wasn't worth anything. So people began to save in real estate, and that got bloated. And it just happened way faster than what happened for us and for Europe. And so like people in China don't even trust Chinese money. So like that's not where the system is going.
Yeah.
Right. It's the money throughout time has always flowed to the freest land. And where's the freest land of opportunity? Well, just go look at where the best and brightest are working. Like who's making the most money? Like internet creators, developers, coders, right? Crypto people. Who else? Artificial intelligence people. People who are investing in that stuff.
People who are investing in the future.
People who are investing, and that's always been the case since the beginning of time. Because again, energetic law is. Energy is always expanding, right? Energy is always finding, like if you want to say, what is the theme of evolution? Evolution is, I take a mass, and if that mass can use energy more efficiently, it evolves, right? That species evolves because it can use less mass for the same output of energy, right? Or input more energy from the same output of mass. Yeah. That's what we do as humans.
In the minute or so that we have left, you want to recap or do you want to add anything before we say goodbye?
I think the big thing is if you really want to understand where the world is going, like just push the reset button on all of your thoughts and ideas. Open your mind to like what's happening right now, because like if you don't, like Americans no longer have privilege being Americans, right? Like because like the world is open with technology and with money. And just like people can still believe in a religion that's 500 years old and it traps them in a certain lifestyle, like that's going to happen right now to people that are saying, oh, this is America and this is how it's always going to be. Nah, it's changing. Like just go look at who's making money and look at what they're doing, and it's right in your face. This is not like predicting. Like, this is happening right in your face.
My takeaway is be curious. Ask a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
That is Phillip Washington Jr. We do this every Friday. This is the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. Phillip, have a great weekend. Let's do it again next week.
Thanks, you too, Steve.
We appreciate you listening to the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. By the way, if you own a business and you are interested in being a part of the Consumer Advice Series, if you have the knowledge to give information in 10-minute increments to the consumers, shoot me an email to info@aboutmansfield.com. Again, that is info@aboutmansfield.com. We'll tell you how we can get you all set up. Appreciate it. We do it again next week right here on the podcast.